All About Water is a project-based curriculum for K through 2 classrooms to learn more about Earth's water, soil, and climate. This curriculum is modular, divided into 60-minute blocks, and may be done as a whole or as individual lessons. If done as a whole, many of the materials can be cleaned and reused for future activities. Activities can also be adapted for virtual and remote learning. More details are provided later in this video. Each of the 3 All About Water lessons and the optional pre-activity are aligned to the Next Generation Science Standards, or NGSS. The complete list of these standards can be found in the curriculum. The most effective learning outcomes happen when students have authority to drive experiments and discover key phenomena on their own, creating and sharing explanations with their peers. As an educator, you have a special role to help facilitate this learning process and guide students' understanding by asking leading questions. It is okay if you are unfamiliar with the phenomena, and in fact, this is a great opportunity to model curiosity. The Creature Connections pre-lesson is also an effective way to engage students more deeply by providing opportunities to consider phenomena from different perspectives. In the first block of Lesson 1, students observe a simple model of evaporation and condensation so that they can better understand how sunlight affects water on Earth's surface. Then, students observe a classroom demonstration of the water cycle. Here's the collection of materials you will need for this first set of experiments. We will need these same materials for the second set of experiments. This activity requires access to an externally facing window that receives direct sunlight. For best results, wait a few hours or a full day before final observations. For the teacher demo, you'll need access and permissions to use a hot plate. If a hot plate is unavailable, you may substitute this demo for the Cloud in a Bottle demo, which we will cover later in the video. Start the activity by introducing students to new concepts and vocabulary through leading questions such as, what is a model? Have you ever built a model? Why would a scientist use a model? Before starting the activity, it may be useful to set expectations for student groups about setting up the experiment and wait times. To build the mini water cycle model, have student groups fill each bag with the same amount of water and add a few drops of food coloring. Next, students mark the water level in the bag with a blue marker, then measure the height of the water. Students record their observations on their activity sheet. Help each group tape their bag to a window where the bags can receive sunlight. The bags will need to stay in the window for a couple of hours. Proceed to the classroom water cycle demo, which we will cover shortly. When students come back to observe their bags, some of the water in the bag will have evaporated and there will be water droplets or fog on the inside. Before moving the bag, all students should observe the results. Then, one student carefully marks the new or after water level on the bag with a red marker. Depending on how much direct sunlight the bag receives, the after water level may not be noticeably different, but that is okay. There should still be fog and water droplets on the inside. If desired, students may keep their bags up and check back over a few days. Finally, students collect their bags and use a ruler to measure the difference between the before and the after water levels. Again, students draw their observations on their activity sheet. End the activity with a reflection focusing on students' observations. Ask leading questions such as, what did you notice? Why do you think that happened? How do you know? Then transition to a discussion about the role of sunlight and temperature in the water cycle to prepare them for the next activity. Have students brainstorm how they might physically change their bags to cause more and less evaporation. Post ideas on the whiteboard in 2 columns and have groups choose one idea from each column to test the following day. See the curriculum for sample scripts and suggested questions. The classroom water cycle demo helps students better understand what is happening in their mini water cycle activity. It is recommended to conduct this demo after students have taped up their bags and before they make their final observations. Let's look at an overview of this demo. You can find complete instructions in the curriculum. These are the supplies we'll need for this demo. Start the demo by heating water in the large pan on a hot plate. Make the water dirty by mixing in salt, dirt, vinegar, or other materials. Once the water starts evaporating, take the small pan and put ice in it to make the pan cold. Hold the small pan above the large pan. Hot water vapor will hit the cold small pan and condense. As condensed water gathers, it becomes heavy and starts raining as precipitation. Use a cup to gather some of this rain and drink as a demo to show how the water cycle helps to clean our water. After the demo, lead a class discussion by asking students to share what they noticed, what was surprising, and any mysteries they observed. For Activity 2, students build off of Activity 1 and try to adjust the amount of evaporation that occurs in their water cycle model. Using the same basic materials and setup as in Activity 1, students will modify their bags with craft materials to try to cause more and less evaporation in their models. To prep for this activity, draw a comparison chart for each group on a whiteboard or other large surface. Open the activity by reminding students they will be physically altering their water cycle model to try to change the amount of evaporation. They will need to make 3 bags, each with the same amount of water. 1 for more evaporation, 1 for less evaporation, and 1 that has no modifications so students can compare between the 3. Students work in their same groups to design add-ons for bags 2 and 3 using their choices from the Activity 1 reflection. After 20 minutes, students carefully fill each bag with exactly 1 cup of water and add a few drops of food coloring. Then bags are taped to the outside-facing window, the before line is marked, and again, students wait a few hours or overnight to observe changes. Have students share the change in water level for each of their 3 bags. It may be helpful to write measurements on a whiteboard, perhaps as a bar graph. Facilitate a small group discussion about what happened in their experiment, again, focusing on observations, hypotheses, and mysteries. Finally, let's cover the cloud in a bottle demo. You may conduct this as an extension or replacement to the water cycle demo. For this model, fill a plastic bottle with a small amount of water, add the cap, and secure tightly. Next, squeeze the bottle. This increases the pressure inside the bottle, which also increases the temperature. Then, unscrew the lid, light a match, and allow it to burn for a few seconds. Blow out the match and quickly drop inside the bottle, securing the lid. Now, squeeze the bottle again. This time, when it is released, fog should form inside the bottle. This curriculum is adaptable for virtual learning. To facilitate virtually, gather materials and provide material lists and activity sheets to students' guardians prior to lessons. Include a baking sheet or other shallow pan for catching spilled water. At your own station, gather materials and demonstrate how to set up each activity on camera. Leave time between steps for students to follow along, asking for a virtual or real thumbs up when each step is complete. Use the time that students are working at their own stations to facilitate discussions. For young students, it may be useful to modify some of the example questions into a yes or no format so the students can answer using hand gestures. Ask students to draw on their activity sheets and show their drawings to the camera. suggest additional ways of exploring that students can do on their own at home. See the Extension section for some suggestions. The Extension section of the curriculum provides more details about ways to build deeper understanding of key concepts and remaining mysteries. And there you have it, folks! Lesson 1 of the All About Water curriculum, Exploring the Water Cycle. More details about the science behind each of these activities can be found in the curriculum's Science Overview section. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out Lesson 2, Filtering Water Through the Earth, and Lesson 3, Droughts.